Hello there, Bick Benedict here. We're playing Gears of War 3 on the Series X, and this is my insane difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Act 3-3. It is entitled At the Doorstep. So from the looks of things, I have inherited a long shot and a boom shot for this stage. You will want a long shot for the last fight. Believe me, because if you don't have one, it's going to be really awkward, especially if you're going to be following my strategy of sniping these enemies on the last fight. It's a long video, and as you can clearly see, and the last fight can be quite long. So if you don't have a long shot, love that. If you don't have a long shot, there are pickups on this stage for them, and since this is not on inconceivable difficulty, you're going to get a good amount of ammunition for those long shots. So there's just it's a situation where there's a lot of enemies. There's a lot of enemies, and there's a lot of enemies that are far away from you, and there's a lot of dangerous moments when you're trying to close in the distance to get to these enemies. Most of them, well, not most of them, but many of them will just come running at you full tilt, which can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on the timing of when they run at you. But yeah, don't worry. There's going to be 2 long shot pickups coming right up, in fact, at the end of this. And this is a pretty difficult engagement at first over here, this particular fight. I'm not going to be using the boom shot where I can help it, though, just in case, for instance, you're coming into this stage with the default weapons from a restart chapter situation. So the first thing you want to do is, don't go down there. You see where that juvie was that I just killed? Don't go down there quite yet. You want to kill the 4 juvies that rush you first, and then you want to go down to the next lower platform and immediately throw a grenade to seal a nest that spawns. So the nest waits on you. So come down here and it'll spawn. Throw a grenade real quick. Hopefully that will kill the enemies that are coming out of it. And you should just have one guy left here. He likes to rush you sometimes. If he doesn't, put him out. We'll put him out either way. But at this point, when you push up to about this far, there's going to be 2 long shot enemies dug in by the building at the back. And then if you want to play this safe, and I would recommend playing it safe, don't go out in the open, because there's going to be some juvies that will rush you like they normally do. And you can just kill them from the safety of this area in here. If you try to go out there, you're guaranteed to get one-shotted by the snipers. And I forget how many juvies there are. There's probably about 4, maybe 5. But just stay in here. There's a boom shot in the nest hole there, and I'm probably going to grab that and use it to kill the snipers. Now, I could use the long shot to kill them, but again, if you don't have the long shot coming into the stage, I just wanted to make accommodations for that sort of scenario and show you that you can easily kill these guys with the provided boom shot. But yeah, this is a pretty by-the-numbers encounter if you just take it apart and just don't put yourself in a bad situation. Just let the juvies come to you, because they spawn right. Well, they don't spawn right when the snipers come, but once you do spawn the 2 snipers, very shortly afterwards, as you saw a moment ago, those juvies will come after you. They'll find you. Okay, so pick up the ammunition. We got 4 for that one. I didn't get too many over here. So let's see our next pickup, how much we got for that. So if you just came into the stage, for instance, what did I get? 4 and 4. So even though I have 13, if I had started this from a restart chapter, I'd have 8. And even just having 8 is fine, but there's an encounter coming up that you can use the long shot and have a good advantage. You can have all the advantage you want pretty much on this, because there's there's 2 or 3 waves here, and ammunition preservation or conservation is really important up here. There's also a boom shot in the ceiling and the webbing over here. Is it a boom shot? No, I'm sorry, it's not a boom shot. I think it's a lancer. But if you want to kill these guys from the safety of the upper area, go for it. I'm going to go back up there at some point. There might be 3 waves. Yeah, there's 3 waves. So once you kill these enemies, and if you want to, just snipe them from upstairs. But it's easier if you just do that. And then don't push forward too much either, or you could potentially spawn the pouncers. But see this? It's their best feature. You know, they just love to rush. It's the first time in Gears where they do that so frequently. Probably in Judgment they did it a little bit too, but I'm gonna set a couple of grenades over here, and when you push up, you're gonna spawn the pouncer. He'll come from the upper right window there, and then there will be another pouncer that spawns too. So fortunately, the pouncers will not come in this area. They might, if they're already on the ground, they might drift in here a little bit, but I was doing this for a good hour and they never came in here. And I've done this on Inconceivable and on my other Insane Guide. I never remember them coming in here. So the only real problem about this location is that if your teammate falls in combat, obviously you can't run out there to get the pouncer off manually. You'll have to shoot the pouncer, and if that teammate is behind like one of these tables, you're gonna have to hope that your other teammate will do the job. There's the third pouncer spawning in. So when you kill one, the third and final one will come in here. So in that situation a moment ago, one of my teammates had fallen, and I couldn't really shoot the pouncer because she, I think it was Kate that was down, but I'm not sure. I couldn't really hit the pouncer to get it off of my teammate. So whoever was left, either Kate or Dell, they were able to finish off the pouncer. You could try marking or spotting the pouncer, see if that works. But if you're upstairs, that should be less of a problem, I would think. That particular problem. So I think I'm going to go back upstairs because once I kill this final pouncer, there's going to be enemies that will rush into this room from the door at the very end in the center, top center of the screen, kind of from this point of view. And you really have to come here with a lot of ammunition. There's ammunition on the other side of the room, but it's very dangerous to get it. So here's one of the enemies coming in. I tried to headshot him, but it's very difficult when he's running like that. Now these enemies will rush you just like the others. So if you see them charging, even if you're up here, they'll come up here. They'll run all the way up the stairs and come at you. So hopefully you have something like the chainsaw to fend them off. And just remember that there is a chance before you even start the fight to switch weapons with a teammate, max out your Lancer or whatever you're using, and then try to have max ammo at the beginning of the fight. And there was that Lancer in the ceiling down here that should provide you a little bit more. And one of these enemies will dig in. One of them's rushing at us, but I believe one of them will stay in there. Let's take a look over here. I'm not sure what weapon this guy has. Looks like he just has a Lancer or Hammer Burst. And there's my SWAT turn getting compromised again. But yeah, it looks like even though that last guy was dug in, he can come out and he can charge you. Okay, so I'll show you where the ammunition boxes are. They're over here on either side of the room. And on this side of the room, there's also a pair of grenades. So make sure you have some grenades for the next fight. because the next fight has a couple of holes that you can seal. So if you have the boom shot or if you have grenades, that'll work. The torque bow will premiere in the next chapter. So if I'm remembering this correctly, oh no, we have, oh, this fight? Okay. I completely forgot about this fight. I thought we've already done it. Now, this is a potentially hard situation. There's another long shot down here that you can add to your inventory. So having the long shot for most of these fights is really helpful. Just save about 10 rounds for the final fight at the end. Okay, so there's one guy in a troika up there, right? And then he gets replaced by one of the other ones if you let this happen. Him, the one I'm aiming at now. If I don't headshot him, you'll see him go on the turret. He does it every time. That's the only replacement drone that goes on that turret. And then you're going to be pushing up here now. We're going to be coming back this way because once you go upstairs, you're going to get overrun and asked to defend that museum area up there. But it's silly to stay in there. Stupid, in fact. Because everything goes absolutely crazy. You've got juvies and another swarm trying to kill you in there, and there's piss poor cover. And as you go into this museum, be careful because there are juvies that spawn. And there's some good weapons up there next to the turret. There'll be a... Is there a long shot? I know there's a boom shot. I know for a fact there's a boom shot. There's potentially a Lancer in there, but I don't think there is. Okay, so just remember when you come in here, you've got juvies, and the checkpoint is really poor on this. But thankfully, when you do get to the upper level and go on the troika, if you choose to, you get a checkpoint. Now, this next part is very particular about how you need to do it. So I'll explain how this works. Our goal is to run down the hill that we just climbed up. Now you can't do that if there are a bunch of swarm on that hill, and you don't want that, and you really don't want any juvies coming after you either. It's not the end of the world, but you want to time it so that you've killed, how shall I put this? I would get off of the turret at some point when you've killed 5 or 6 enemies, come down, and then clear the rest down here. Maybe use the boom shot. And then the juvies will spawn after the final drone is killed, and you'll hear the screech of the screamer. And when you hear that, you want to be running down the hill. You want to already be running down the hill. I like to already be running down it because it gives me enough time to plant a grenade in a room where one of the swarm spawns from. I'll show you where it is. So right now you do have a checkpoint, and just prepare. So what do you want? Just make sure you have some grenades, and if you want the retro lancer, that's great. You can have the lancer, and the boom shot really is just to kill these enemies. Okay, so we're pretty much done with the turret. Now we're gonna leave and go downstairs. But just remember, when you kill the last one of these guys, you want to start running, because then you'll hear the juvie scream, and then you want to be making your way to the very, very start of where we came into this whole area from, where that fountain was and the statue. So let's see. The Retro Lancer is a good weapon to have. It doesn't have that much ammunition though, but you can use the melee with it, and it's really good. So you need to be aware over here how many guys are left. And it doesn't really matter about planting the grenade. Don't worry about that. The bottom line is just to be starting to run down the hill when you hear the juvie scream. Preferably a little bit before that. And you can preempt it by doing something like I'm doing, since I know there's a drone left. And now I know that he's dead probably, and the juvies are going to be coming after me. So one of those swarms spawns in this room here. And to prevent him from surprising me and killing me when I'm out of cover, I'm going to plant that over there. And now at this point, the juvies are all going to be coming after you. And when you hear the, and I didn't hear it personally, but if you do hear the explosion of the frag grenade that we planted, that's about the time you want to come up. Look at these guys. They're so crazy and difficult. That's about the time you want to go up and make your presence, known up there to pull more juvies over to you, because ideally you want to be dealing with them in this fashion where they're coming at you in a narrow area, all confined like this, and just be on top of your reloads, and be concerned if you gun jam. That's when you gun jam, that's usually the time when the juvies come after you. I'm just joking, but you know how that works sometimes. But the guy that spawned in that room, I think he's dead. If not, he's going to be dead pretty soon. We'll look in that room and try to see his chunks, but I think they despawned, but his weapon is in there. I know he has a shotgun because I remember seeing a shotgun in that room. And just don't give these guys an inch, because they'll take a mile. And when things calm down a little bit, you want to push forward, because there will be some juvies by the hill. And if you want to, this can be the end of your whole time over here if you want to. But when you come up here, sometimes the guy in that room, if you don't frag tag, he can come out and start shooting at you, and there's no defense out here, so he could kill you easily. I'm not sure what's going on with this juvie over here, but fortunately he was in some kind of a loop going over that fallen tree. So there's a weapon from the dead enemy, the shotgun. And now it's safe to go over here, but just be careful when you go in here, because you're likely to get attacked by juvies that will only come out and get you if you go in here. So I don't believe you can really pull their aggro too much. Unless you go down here, they'll chase you, of course. And I'm being cowardly and just coming down here. I don't want to stay by the entrance, because I don't want to have to deal with juvies on the ground, and maybe the juvies could jump down from the area up there by the turret. All crazy kinds of things like that can happen with juvies. And there's likely, do you see that chunk that just fell? My teammates killed the last enemy, but there's usually a guy up there remaining, one or two enemies, and you'll have to finish them off. Fortunately, my teammates did it for me. But it's probably some guy with a shotgun or a hammer burst. And now at this point, make sure you pick up the frags. There's a Marksa in that room if you want it. I would switch to the frag grenades over here if you want to checkpoint yourself with the ideal weapon. There's going to be a buzzkill in this room coming up over here. I'm going to ignore it because I don't have any use for it right now. But there's going to be two holes that immediately spawn when you get near the cover over here. So there's the buzzkill. So you want to come in here, throw a grenade there, throw a grenade here. The second nest that I threw a grenade at, it does not have any weapon or any sort of reward in it, like a frag grenade or anything. The first nest has incendiary grenades as the drop in here. So there's some frag grenades, but the drop is incendiaries. I'll show you in a minute. And then have those grenades equipped, and then throw a grenade in here. It's not over though, because even though we sealed that nest, there's drones here. I'm just gonna call them drones. The swarm might not be called drones, but you know what I mean when I say it. So just fend these off, and you're pretty spared from having grenades thrown at you most of the game. Once you do get to the elite swarm, then they start throwing the grenades at you, but until then, the game really doesn't throw a bunch of grenades at you, which is nice. Okay, and then are the no we the I'm not sure what drop is in this hole here, if there is one. We can check it out. Is it a boom shot? It's not a hammer burst. It is an incendiary. Okay, so on this part here, once you hit one of the planks of wood, completely destroy it. The enemies will spawn. They'll come in from under the gate there. If you want to fight them and have this guy rush and get him killed like that, you can. Sometimes he doesn't rush though. But if you just want to destroy one side of the bridge where the planks were, you can have it lower halfway, and then then be assured that nobody will rush you. And you can have it like that if you want to. But don't forget to pick up the drops over here for the long shots. I didn't get very many. You get a checkpoint right before that though, so if you want better drops than what you might get sometimes, you could definitely manipulate that. And then here's the last fight, and this is why you should have the long shot. So I've also trimmed out a cutscene that you have to watch every time, unfortunately. There's a drop-off point over here, so you can kill as many enemies as you want to from up here. The first section here has a sniper up there, and then there's also a sniper, and he'll either be in this building here or the building that I'm aiming at now. Sorry I did that so quickly, but he'll be in either one of those two buildings. So you've got, I think in total there's 4 snipers, maybe 5. But this first wave is just that sniper that we took out the very first, and then this sniper that we're trying to kill now, and then 3 or 4 drones. And there's a boom shot in this room that seems to give out either 3 or 4 rounds randomly. So once you drop down to the area where these enemies are right now, there's no coming back. So fortunately, the remaining spawns, except the last one where they bust out of a door and surprise you in a really cheap manner, you can do all of that from over here if you wanted to. You can kill every wave except the final wave of, I think there's 3 guys. But on this second wave, there's a sniper in the same area where the first one of the entire fight was. Same location. And then the enemies love to charge you here. They love to make you really uncomfortable. So just be prepared for that, and possibly have a lancer. Some of these enemies have lancers, so if you don't have a lancer, just pick one up on your way down here. The boom shot is really not necessary. You don't want to panic shoot a boom shot with an enemy that's charging you, because if it's too close, then you're going to kill you and the enemy. So we're just using the Retro Lancer here to kill some enemies. And remember, on this difficulty and on Inconceivable, snipers kill you in one shot. So I'm going to pick up the boom shot, switch out my Retro Lancer for it, and then I think I'm going to come down here. Because even though I could snipe everybody, I just want to, I don't want the whole fight to be going up there. But there's more long shot ammunition from the snipers where they were located. And then having a Lancer over here actually saved me, because somebody charged me, and I think I'm right over here. It happens in just a minute, but I don't think I have. Do I have the Lancer? No, I don't have the Lancer. But I would definitely have a Lancer. And then at this point, there are enemies in that area up there where all those sandbags are located. And then I think that's the end of the snipers. But it's not the end of charging enemies. So I'm going to have a look around here. I'm trying to find a Lancer, because I know there's usually one right here. So I think that's a spot where a Lancer always is. But if you can't find that one for some reason, the first wave of enemies, they'll have dropped a Lancer. Somebody has a Lancer. And then you're going to have more enemies spawning. And it's just too dangerous if you don't have a long shot. You know, it's too tedious, I think, to try to kill the snipers with a Marksa. So that's why I don't like having a Marksa. But I think in place of that boom shot in that room, they maybe should have put a long shot for people that, you know, had no idea of what this fight entails. So there's just a lot of drones up there, and just keep looking for the ones that are charging you, because they will, and they'll continue to do it. And I was not able to put him down. Of course, he'll vault over, and I was able to chainsaw him. And since he didn't have a hammer burst, we didn't get into a Lancer war. Now the Lancer wars are all but certain, and you can always win them with lower, like lesser enemies like these ones. But with the elites, sometimes even though you're tapping like crazy, sometimes they still win. So it's not a guaranteed win, unfortunately. I'm not sure how fast you could tap it on PC, but this game is only available from the Microsoft Store and on and console. And I was trying to see what I'm doing too. I'm preparing the chainsaw just in case the enemy that was just charging was not able to be dealt with by my teammates and killed. So if he came around the corner, you know, I was waiting for him, and that's what you have to do pretty much. But I own the game on the Windows Store, and I was trying to download it because I wanted to see some of the PC options, see if it had different field of view options. I can't remember what it has and what it doesn't have. But the game, it said, oh, there's a problem on our end with the download. On Microsoft's end, I couldn't download the game. I'm sure this game is just neglected completely on that store. You know, just like the 5th game will be neglected at some point. It's pretty sad, but this last spawn, the enemies come out of this door right here. Looks like there's 2. Are there 2 or 3? Looks like 2, but 2 is enough, especially if you don't know about that. And they don't put a checkpoint before that either. And how do I feel about that? I'm kind of mixed about it, because if they did put a checkpoint there, then it would be no big deal, and it would be unremarkable, and you would never talk about it. But the fact that they do throw a surprise there, you know, makes it have some sort of significance. Even though it's garbage type of significance, it's still not unremarkable. So that's the only thing I could say in its favor, and it doesn't deserve any favor, quite honestly. But that is the totality of Act 3-3. I will see you in 3-4, and until then, please take care.